Hello everyone, my name is Clyde Aspevig and I'm here to share some pretty exciting news with you. As many of you know, this is the 50th anniversary of Norman Maclean's classic novel, A River Runs Through It. It's also the passing of Robert Redford, who made the wonderful movie that we're all familiar with. And the big announcement, however, is that Opera Montana has secured the rights to do the operatic version of A River Runs Through It. And they've asked me to create a painting that can be used for their poster and perhaps some of the scenes in the opera itself. So, pretty exciting news. The opera is going to premiere this September in Bozeman, and then it will move to Missoula, where the Maclean family story began. So I just want to say that I've met the cast, I've heard the original music, the score, the producing. This is going to be an amazing production. The talent is overwhelmingly great. So hold on to your seats, it's going to be a good one. The book is much more than a book about fly fishing, if you've read it. And Opera Montana has chosen to develop the role of the women in the story using the idea of light and luminosity as they nurtured and cared for the two sons and their father. And we all know, if you've read the book, that these individuals carried a lot of baggage with them. So the women had their hands full, for sure. I would now like to zoom in on the painting and translate some of the ideas into a visual format for you to explore with me as I describe the painting. I'd love to mention the presentation of the painting, which is augmented by a beautiful hand-carved frame by William Adair at Gold Leaf Studios in Washington, D.C. You'll see how it replicates and enhances all the vibration in the painting, in the carving. So with the idea of the word luminosity, luminous in mind, I'm choosing to use this warm evening sky as a symbol of the women's dedication to their family. Again, these are some of the ideas that rereading the book had given me. The sunset casts a soft, kind of a backlit glow, which then embraces the entire landscape, kind of like a mother's hug. The color palette of grays, greens, and warm purples is suggesting a kind of melancholy which permeates throughout the book, ending in the tragic death of Paul, and how the family would deal with the incident. The brushwork with the soft edges and texture in the paint represents the complex emotions in the somewhat blurred vision of reality. The only hard edge in the painting is this large rock here, the face of it. And perhaps it could be a representation of Paul himself, kind of going against the grain with his addiction and mental health issues. I imagine this scene on the Blackfoot River is the last time the boys fished together with their dad. If you look closely above the rock on the far side of the bank, you're going to see the echoes, the ghosts of Paul's line catching the light as Norman and his dad admire the beauty of the moment. The trees silhouetted against the sky can also be visualized as kind of like family members, all with these different personalities. I also built up the ridges of paint just above the river in the center, right in here. And they represent the ancient fly casting rhythms of many a fisherman over time. And if you visit this spot, maybe these little lines still linger in one's imagination. The willows on both sides of the river begin to mimic the cast of this ghost cast of Paul's. And you can see they all flow through into these casts as we go across. Sometimes those branches, of course, catching the fishermen's lines as they do. The currents and the rapids do the same as the willows, and the harmony with all the repeating shapes and textures rise up into the sky's luminosity with one last cast represented by this thin cloud as it's absorbed by the setting sun. The entire painting now becomes one harmonic whole, and perhaps in the end, some healing can take place as a river continues to run through it all. And now here we are, 50 years later. McLean's book is a great classic, and the world continues to evolve around us. The rivers are still running through our mountains, through our forests, out into the valleys, into the prairie, and they remain the very source of our survival. The relationship we develop with our rivers ultimately becomes the relationship we have with ourselves. Thank you, and I hope to see you at the premiere in Bozeman this September.